I'm Fiona Ackerman. I'm at Gallery Jones, standing in my show, Lizard Brains. Why the show is titled Lizard Brains? So there's no short answer to that question. It started because last summer I was getting into thinking about this show, and I had quite a different idea, which I ended up putting on the back burner to go into this show. I just ended up being way too much in my head and overthinking everything, and just kind of losing a sense of what I wanted to do next. So I decided to just abandon every idea that I had sort of decided to do with the show, and just to go in clean and paint and discover what the show is through painting. I was at home one day during the heat dome. Everything was really hot, and just trying to figure out what I should do next, how to go about the show. And in the corner of my hallway, something caught my eye, and it was a tiny little lizard. One of my friends told me, oh, lizards are symbols of rebirth and rejuvenation and resurrection. And the state I was in, that was perfect timing, because I wanted something just to give me a sign what to do. So I was thinking, here, I've been visited by a lizard. A few hours later, figured out, I can't just have this lizard in a cup for the rest of time. I figured out it's going to go to somebody else's house. They were going to take it, this big thing, and I went to transfer it. And my Jesus lizard, I was calling it at that point, because it was this resurrection symbolic lizard. I was moving it, and it moved a little bit, and I killed it. And when you kill your spirit lizard, when you're in a creative crisis, there's a moment where you go, what? So I just put everything down, shut the door, went to the studio, put all the work that I had already started in the corner, and started over. It was thought for a while that inside our limbic system, we have a nucleus that's the oldest part of our brain, and all it does is care about fight, flight, fornication, and food. Just the basics. It's not bogged down by overthinking or being stuck in a heat dome or trying to figure out how they feel about life in a pandemic in the world. It doesn't give a crap about any of that. It just is the essential motor skills. That's the lizard brain. So when I killed my spirit lizard and went to the studio to start my new show, it seemed like, get into this show, don't think about anything, just use your painter brain, just paint, and then see what you have at the end of it. And for me, that was an explosion of energy. I feel standing in this show right now, I am surrounded by a lot of energy that I was looking for at that time. I listen to a lot of music in the studio, and I play a lot of music, and I write music. So music was very much part of the making of this show. And I felt like when I go into writing music, you just sort of sit down, you don't know what you're going to end up with. And that was the lizard brain approach that I really wanted to take to this. I've always thought of music as it gives you a durational sense of an experience. It's bringing up some kind of old familiar feeling that you carry around, that it triggers, maybe like a memory or something like that, and it gives it a time to live in. And I find when I finish a painting and it works for me, it's because it seems a little bit familiar. It gives a place to that feeling. So the music gives you a time to be in it, and then the painting gives you a place where it is. It's almost like I've now gotten a picture of this little room in the back of my mind. It's always in there, but now you have this physical place for that feeling or memory to exist. As humans, we all have the same stories going over and over again, and we've been carrying and recreating a lot of the same human life on Earth stories from the beginning of time, wherever you place that. So we carry them forward. So when you see a painting or hear music and it triggers something familiar, it's part of the experience of life feeling. It doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be put into words, which is why having music and having painting that don't have these elements all the time are very necessary parts for us to have mirrors on what it is to be alive and to share this long story. And if you can make art that reflects a tiny little fragment of it, then you've recognized it for a second.